Hey, I'm Chris Ralph, the professional prospector, and today I'm out in the gold fields, out in the Greenstone area that I was in a few weeks back, and did a metal detecting video on that. And I'm out here again today and for a few days, and thought I'd bring you along to talk a little bit about metal detectors and finding gold. In fact, we're going to talk about how to find gold with a metal detector, and that's an important topic and one that a lot of people are interested in. Now, I got to tell you that finding gold with a metal detector, it isn't super easy, but there's a lot of potential. I mean, literally, you can go out and find thousands of dollars in a matter of hours. But if you think you're just going to do that, you now have no experience, just walk out and find a few $1,000s, well, you have to be pretty darn lucky, pretty amazingly lucky. Almost like you could go out and buy a lottery ticket for a few bucks and win $10 million. The odds are really low that that'll happen, but it could happen. Now, the odds are better with a metal detector that you're going to find a few $1,000s, but it's not easy. Gold is the rarest metal, or not the rarest, but it's one of the rarest metals on the surface of the earth. It's not common. And that's why it sells, as I'm filming this, for close to $2,000 an ounce, $2,000 US. So it's rare. It's not common. It's unusual. It's beautiful. It's valuable. But there's not that many places where you can go out and just find a gob of it. Now, I like using a metal detector because you can scan a lot of ground fast, and the metal detector will tell you, if you've gone over a nugget. There's two parts of finding gold with a metal detector, and that's things that you need to know if you're thinking about getting into this, or if you've already bought a detector and you want to learn how to be more successful. There's two parts. The first part is learning how to run your detector and learning what the beeps that it makes mean, what the settings you should set it at, how to run it. And I've done a couple of videos on how to set up various detectors for gold. You could watch those, but there's so many detectors out there, there's no way I could do a video for all of them. I could do a video for a few different types that I have or have access to. But learning your detector, that's really key. But that's actually the easy part of it. An average guy, you go out and practice, or gal, you go out and practice in your yard, put down some small targets, maybe little bits of lead fishing weights, or that kind of stuff, and you can practice and see what it sounds like and what's set up and that kind of thing. You can read about setting it up. It takes practice. It does take time. You have to work and do it. You have to put the work in. Otherwise, you won't have it. So there's that part of it. But the second part is putting yourself over gold. And metal detector is a tool. It beeps if you put the coil over a piece of gold, but it doesn't put itself over gold. In other words, it can't tell you, well, go over here, or no, go over there, or go over there. It doesn't tell you that. You have to decide, well, I'm gonna go over there. And if you're lucky, if you know what you're doing, if you can read the ground, if you can see the old-timer workings, maybe you will put the coil over a nice nugget. Maybe you won't. It's a matter of skill, but there's a little bit of luck, because even an experienced guy like me, I look at old workings and that kind of stuff, and I interpret it the best I can, but there's been people here before me, and maybe the nugget that was there that I thought should be there was there, but some guy dug it 3 years ago. You never know. It's just a matter of getting out there and practicing, and then trying and seeing. Now, I'm going to take you with me. We're going to be using the Gold Monster by Minelab today, and I'm going to use my chest mount. Here's my chest mount. I asked a number of you guys to comment if you thought the chest mount was a good thing, and lots of people said yes. But the way the chest mount, one guy said, maybe you should, instead of using a tripod like I'm using now, you could just flip the camera up and talk. The problem is the way that it is, you know, when it's pointing out this is down, but if I flip it up to see me, down is now up, and my face would be upside down, and I don't think that would work very well. So I'm going to use the chest mount camera to point at the ground to show. I'll probably dig a few holes with the tripod just to show me digging and sorting through. But the digging a hole and sorting through and pulling out the target, that's a skill that goes with learning how to operate your detector. The other skill, the harder one, is putting yourself in the right place and putting your coil over a nugget. Now I'm here in a Greenstone belt area in California. This has been highly productive. There's a lot of old-time miner workings here. It's actually private property, but I have permission through a friend. Several of us are here. We're prospecting, and I'm going to take this to an area where, actually, when I was filming the last time, I found a little nugget. So we're going to go back there and look around and see what we see, and dig some targets and hopefully find some gold. So stick around with me for a few minutes. We're going to kind of change the view and the video and go into using the gold monster mode and finding some gold out in the field. Okay, I've been swinging my detector for a little bit and have found a target. If you look at the meter on this as I swing over it, you'll see that it bounces back and forth. Ferris. Now it's saying non-ferrous. Now it's saying non-ferrous. Ferris going back and forth. Let's dig it up and see what it is. Okay, so you can kind of see it was a buckshot BB, little BB of lead. Fired, I'm sure, years ago to shoot at some coyotes or something. Who knows? Rabbits, not sure. And, well, I found it. And the detector, although it kind of bounced back and forth, it was more leaning toward a non-ferrous, but it did bounce back and forth. There's a lot of mineralization in the ground here. And, you know, I got me a BB. So, not a big find, but hey, you know, that's gold hunting. So this one's giving a little bit back and forth, but leaning more toward ferrous. I'm going to do what they call a boot scrape. So I'm basically going to use my foot to just kind of scrape the area down a little bit and get the coil closer to the target. Because with discrimination, the better the reading it comes when you get right over the target. Closer you are to the target, the more reliable the reading is. And this is kind of a weak reading to begin with. So I'm going to do a boot scrape. Okay, so I've scraped the area with my tennis shoe, and let's see what we get. Yeah, it's still pretty much reading all ferrous, so I'm going to stick with what I got, or stick with not digging it. So that's a little bit about how to use your discrimination in your metal detector. Okay, so at this point, I'm still getting a bounce back and forth between iron and not iron. So it's out of the hole. So let's take a look and see what it is. I'll get back to you in a second. Well, the final verdict was that it was another chunk of lead, another piece of buckshot that's been fired. It has some dents in it, but this is lead. Oh well, not gold. Okay, here's another target the detector says is non... Wait. There it is. I don't know if you can see that on the display, but it's going all non-ferrous. So is it another piece of lead? Is it another bullet? Or is it a nugget? You'll only know if you dig it out. So that's what we got to do. I'll be back with you in a second and show you what it is. Okay, it's a little piece of brass. It might be part of a shell casing or something. It's a flat piece of brass that another piece of junk. Here's another one that the detector is reading as non-ferrous. Let's dig it and see what it is. So the detector is now showing that it's basically all iron. It's no longer bouncing back and forth much. As it's getting closer to the target, it's saying more iron. So I'm going to dig a little further, but if it doesn't get better, I may go ahead and leave the target in the hole. That's part of the thing with discrimination. The closer you get and the more over the target you get, the more accurate your reading. So if you get one that bounces around and you dig down and then it becomes either all non-ferrous or all ferrous, as it's getting closer, the detector is giving you a better reading, a more accurate reading. So I'm going to dig down a little more, but I think that this one's going to end up being iron and I may not actually get it out of the hole. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave this one. It's basically reading iron, 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 iron. So time to fill in the hole. We'll walk away from that one. Okay, here's another target that's bouncing around, but then I dug it down a little bit and it sounds real sharpened. And the detector is pretty sure now that it's non-ferrous. It doesn't bounce around. And that kind of high, really sharp tone that commonly goes with gold. Not big pieces. I mean, big pieces may make other kinds of sounds, but a small, good, chunky little gold flake, a nice picker, basically, will make a sound like that. And of course, the detector will be real certain that it's not a piece of iron. So let's dig it out and see what we got. So there it is. It is a nice little picker, a little nugget. Nothing big, nothing spectacular, but that little zippy sound was just what the doctor ordered. So now we've got a nugget for today. And we'll keep going and see if we can find some more ones right in this immediate area. Always when you find one, you know, you got to search the immediate area, because if the conditions are right for one to be there, the conditions are right usually for there perhaps to be more. Well, this one's a real strong non-ferrous. Something like that is either going to be a big bullet or a good-sized gold nugget. So let's get that out of the ground and see what we got. And that one is a nice nugget. Maybe my luck has changed. I got trash, 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 and now 2 nuggets in a row, and the second one's better than the first. All right, let's hope that things are getting better. But no, that's one that makes the day. You know, usually you get that size or better, you got to be happy for the day. So I'm very pleased with this one, and I'm going to take a little short break and then see if I can't find me some more. So I did have some good luck after that larger nugget. I actually, not long after, went out and had lunch, and then after lunch I went out and I got even a bigger piece, and I got some other good pieces. So overall it was a great trip. I did get to thinking after lunch, gee, this video is probably really long already, and so I didn't do more finding with it, but I'm going to do more in the future. In other words, I'll have more videos. I certainly plan on returning out there. I did pretty good gold this time, and here, take a look at the gold that I found. I got all cleaned up and wanted to show you. So here's the nuggets I got on that trip. You can see the larger one that I showed in the scoop there is on the right, and then about an hour or so later, you can see I got an even bigger one than that's on the left there.
the bigger one on the left. All in all, the total was just about 5 grams, right at 5 grams for a couple of days prospecting, which, hey, I was happy with that. That ain't too bad. It's a nice take with the price of gold so high as it is. So this is what I ended up with for my full trip of prospecting.
Now, finding gold with a metal detector is a skill. It's what you need to know, the skills of doing that, not just of how to run a detector, but how to get to a place where you can put a coil over a nugget so that the coil in your metal detector can see the nugget. Now, like I say, gold prospecting, it's a skill, and I wrote a book about it, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my book right now. So let me tell you a little bit more about my book. It's called Fistful of Gold, and I wrote it because I want you to be able to go out and find for yourself Fistful of Gold. And you can see that it's an encyclopedia with all kinds of information, pictures, and that sort of thing. It's not in color, but color would have cost me a lot more to have printed, and so the book would have cost a lot more. It's for sale on Amazon, and you can pick it up. I'll put a link in the description below. I also serve as the editor for a prospecting magazine. It's ICMJ's Prospecting and Mining Journal. And honestly, you should check that out. We got stories and information, legal stuff, everything you know to increase your skills as a prospector. I write articles in this every month, and a lot of other very experienced prospectors contribute to the magazine as well. So check the magazine out. Also, I have a website, and the website is at NevadaOutbackGems.com. I'll put a link for it in the description below, but there's gobs of information there that you will find useful in your prospecting efforts. Finally, I want to say that I really appreciate your comments and thoughts, and even positive criticism. Don't come on there and just toss out insults, because I'll just delete your comments. But if you've got helpful things to say and questions to ask, do write and put those in the comments, because I answer my comments to people, and you'll hear from me in responding to you. So if you've enjoyed this video and you like what you see and you're interested in finding out more, well, then sign up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so they'll let you know when I post new videos. And like it and share it if, again, you see stuff that you really are excited about. And I'll be coming out with lots more new videos, and so we'll see you again real soon.